We're also celebrating the history made right here in the city of St. Louis. And one of the most influential musicians of all time, Scott Joplin, called St. Louis his home over a century ago.
That's pretty cool. Our Sydney Stallworth took a trip to the historic Scott Joplin house on Del Mar, where she met a young musician who's reintroducing Joplin's iconic ragtime music to today's 21st century audience.
This is the entertainer, my way.
A new take on a classic ragtime tune.
Ragtime influences all these styles that we really love.
Putting his own twist on the work of the genre's foremost composer, 22-year-old pianist and composer Royce Martin tickles the ivories and is transported back in time.
It's like I can channel the spirit of Scott Joplin more closely than I would be able to otherwise. You know, just being in the space that he was in, breathing the same air, maybe not the same air, but touching the same things perhaps that he touched.
After a visit to Scott Joplin's home as a teenager, Royce was hooked.
I got inspired and I asked for a summer job.
So he's worked in the Scott Joplin house over the past 5 years, studying Joplin's music and learning about the man behind the notes.
People listen to this Black American music all over the world, but these musicians like Scott Joplin and his contemporaries had to die basically penniless for this music to exist.
Things looked a lot different in St. Louis in the years leading up to the 1904 World's Fair.
It was a lot of different jobs that came about just because the fair was going to be here. And so people moved from rural areas to the city.
This home became a boarding house destination for many Black residents, like Scott Joplin in 1902.
So Scott Joplin lived here. This was his profession, was music. He was a renter, and this gives the address.
Joplin stayed here a few years and lived in other places around St. Louis, but this is the only building left standing, like his works surviving the test of time. From 1899's Maple Leaf Rag to 1912's New Rag. Royce graduated in May 2022 from Berklee College of Music with a degree in film scoring and composition. At just 22 years old, his music has already aired on an HBO reunion special, a Hulu documentary miniseries, and soon you'll hear his work on a new Discovery Plus documentary. Now he's recording an album of Joplin's works inside the Scott Joplin house.
Memories on Morgan Street. So Del Mar, where we are now, used to be called Morgan Street when Scott Joplin was living here. And it's an album of 12 of Scott Joplin's compositions. This album could be important for St. Louis culture. I think just generally, I think the city has a lot to be proud of, and the more we shine light on things that we should be proud of, the better we are.
Royce says young people need to hear this music.
You learn where you come from to learn where you want to go.
Oh, that was such a great story. Love that. Okay, well, right now the Scott Joplin house is closed because the site was broken into back in October and many artifacts were damaged. But you can learn more about the house and the music that fills its halls in this article in the As Seen on TV section of KSDK.com.